Hello, everyone. This is the Not Part of Your Scene podcast on the Chaotic Propaganda, the Propaganda Show podcast. Today, I'm going to give first impressions of the new album by Swampbeast called Seven Evils Spawned of Seven Heads. This new album from Swampbeast is on Translation Lost Records. They had a couple cool demos in a split a couple years ago that made me think they had a lot of hope. I actually didn't realize that they had an album coming out this quick. So when I saw it on the new releases, I definitely jumped onto it and gave it a few listens and decided it was time to talk about it. So first listen, I think a lot of my first impressions, I should say, I think a lot of my enjoyment from this record comes probably from, and I just hate to say this word, and 2020 and all that bullshit, but really from the pandemic. Because when you turn this on, you hear this blasting and this growling and this heaviness, and I know that we've gotten a lot of good music in 2020 and even at the beginning of 2021, to be honest. But when you hear that heaviness, the first thing I think of is just how cool that would be to be walking into a show, if you're here in Vegas at Triple B's or something like that, and they're already right into the first song, and it's just this beautiful, blasting, ugly noise, and that's what I felt when I turned on the first song, Orc's Anvil. Right now, I think once that feeling sort of faded away, and I was deeper into the album, I started feeling like maybe it was. I never liked to use the word generic, but it was. For fans of the specific genre, right? In a lot of ways, I think there's a lot of stuff that transcend, like so long as you're a metalhead, or so long as you like hip hop, or or rapping or something, this is the kind of subgenre that could at least get you interested. But when I got really deep into the album, and after the second listen, I started to feel like, maybe the vocals are low in the mix. That's exactly where they should be, but at times it makes the songs less memorable. The heaviness, there's not a lot of differences from song to song. Of course, as I listen a couple more times, I start seeing some of the individual personalities of the song. But I feel like that's a normal thing that happens with any music. You start getting used to some of the sounds, or some of the tempo changes, or some of the riff changes and stuff. So yeah, it's loud and heavy and strong, and I mean, if you're hungry for it, which I was when I turned it on, I think I had just listened to Jefferson Airplane or something, so I was hungry for it too when it came on, and it just made me hungry to go out and see shows again, get rid of this obnoxious thing that's been going on the last year. But then I sort of fell back into it. I sort of, in parts it didn't keep my attention. I started thinking about other things, So a couple other parts to this. I think that this could have been, I think some of these parts could have been more memorable if we had more solos. And then the solos that were there weren't, washed back in like the vocals. Solo forward, and I'm not necessarily a solo guy, but I liked what I heard. This might be another thing really on 6th, 7th listen, right? That, okay, now I know the solo's coming in and I hear it better, but in a lot of times I felt like it was just too far at the back of the bus with the heaviness going on. There's enough pummeling and heaviness, especially on the last song, Spell of Decay. My second listen through, I noticed the solo there the first time I listened. The second time I listened, it was like, man, I just wish this was a little bit more prominent, just for the simple fact that you get enough pummeling, and there's not any real hook to the vocals. I don't necessarily mean choruses, but just there's nothing that make the vocals memorable. They're just that brutal vocal that belongs in this type of song. So I would like to see a little bit more solos. The other thing I'll point out is I'm not going to use the word overproduced because I'm not sure that it is, but there are highly produced drums in this, and I have to leave that up to your ear. So sometimes I felt really good about it. I felt like it worked well in the song, and then other times I got a little bit bored of it, to be honest. Right, like a little bit annoyed with it. And I'd also say that there's nothing actually that special about the drums. They're fine. The playing is fine and everything, but it's not like there's these weird, cool double bass parts or some fun awkward off timing stuff. Even the tempo changing is very light with the drums. So to put the drums so prominent, and I listened to this on car speakers, so that might not be the best, but also headphones, right? So for those to feel so prominent is and then when I contrast that against the way I felt like some of the guitar solos should have been picked up a little bit more, it makes me think. It makes me think. I'd also point out though that just because that's the way like the mix felt, it doesn't mean that we're not going to get something crazy if we're watching Swampbeast live. The solos might be a lot more forward. Hopefully I'm not drunk or fucked up on heroin or something when they're playing them. But other than that, it is a fun, heavy record. It is a band that I'd heard a little bit from before and enjoyed. Right, for a first full record I've heard. I don't even know if they have another record. I just heard demos in that split, and with I can't even remember who the split was with. Then it's solid. It's something cool. Otherwise though, where does it go in your record collection? Is this something that you need to be spending your stimulus money on the vinyl or something? I'm not sure about that. It is something I wouldn't push you to do. I would say you definitely want to listen to it a few times, and it may turn you that way. But other than that, I did enjoy my time with it. I wasn't dreading listening to it a second time. I decided I'll review this Damn Pretty Reckless record. Completely different music, right? Well, I guess it's rock, but completely different otherwise. And I'm dreading listening to that a second time. But this one I still enjoyed. So we are done here. Thank you for watching. That's Swampbeast Translation Lost Records.